going on, Jerome's? Happy Tuesday. It is Deep V Tuesday. I don't know if you guys knew that, but we're back. We got a random loose collection of, I don't know, some Vikings related, some not, news articles in the Vikings news dump. So let's go. First up, Ben Gessling, Start Tribune, go. Vikings added running back Myles Gaskin. Now, I'm trying to workshop a nickname for Myles Gaskin, working off of, Tiger King's Carol Baskin. Haven't figured it out yet. We'll get to it. But back to the 53-man rooster. They moved him to the practice squad last week to avoid guaranteeing his base salary for the season. And, this happened, Friday, Saturday. He was on the practice squad. He was elevated for the Sunday's game day roster. They also re-signed Lucky Jackson back to the practice squad, like we said. And it's the small procedural moves, and So now Gaskin's minimum $1.01 million veteran base salary is not fully guaranteed. Only 35% of it is. And if Gaskin isn't on the active roster or the 53-man roster at some point in the season, the Vikings could save 2/3 of $1 million, which, I mean, it does add up at the end of the day, but just kind of weird when that happens. Speaking of cap space, so the Vikings freed up a whole lot of cap space this morning. So $10 million in cap space, a classic restructure with Brian O'Neill. Now, this actually happened on Saturday, and it could have been part of the negotiations with Justin Jefferson, which came down to the wire. But now the Vikings have around $16 million in cap space to do, I don't know, something. That would be ideal. I don't know, adding potentially Dalton Reisner, who teased everyone, showing a photo of the departure list at Denver International Airport. Yesterday we did the conspiracy video. We zoomed in and enhanced, and a bunch of them were Minneapolis, but no confirmation if he's landed. Darren Doogie Wolfson, KSTP Sports, says that he's not coming here to Minnesota, but I don't know, maybe Dalton Reisner is visiting another NFL team, which kind of feels like cheating. I don't know. Or he's just in Cabo right now. Who really knows what's going to happen? I do know that Josh Metellus did sign a nice 2-year, $8 million extension with $5 million in change guaranteed. But the full details of his contract are out now, and they're real and they're spectacular. So $3 million of his contract is in a signing bonus that got prorated out over the next 3 years. His base salary for this year is guaranteed, as well as his $1.125 million base for 2024. Now, the Vikings do have an out if Metellus isn't living up to his contract before 2025, when he'll be 27, where he'll have a $4.77 million cap hit. The Vikings can get out, no muss, no fuss. Only the prorated $1 million of his signing bonus would be dead against the cap. So it's a really good extension for Metellus, who played extremely well, basically as a starting defensive player, as a joker, DB, linebacker, safety, corner, big slot, week one against the Buccaneers. And he'll be an important part of the Flores defense going forward. And also, of course, special teams captain. Coach Hatt raves about him, so it's a good deal for him and very good deal for the team, and the Vikings do protect themselves. So, speaking of Sunday's game, so a lot of issues going on with the Vikings, and I don't know, so there's a moment captured on video and promoted by the Buccaneers social media team where Baker runs for like a 3-yard gain out of bounds, and Byron Murphy shoves him out of bounds, and I don't know, like Baker going back to Oklahoma is a big time trash talker. He hasn't really had much to trash talk about as of late, but then the Vikings were like, Here's one. And again, the Vikings didn't necessarily lose. They just beat themselves. So technically, we're the only 500 team in the league right now. No big deal. But, I mean, Baker said to Byron Murphy Jr., get your effing weight up, little boy, which I don't know. I understand that there's connotations with that, but in the heat of the moment, do I think Baker was talking out of pocket? No. Was he just trash talking in general? Yes, but it's still kind of funny. Man. Also, The Longest Yard was probably the last good Adam Sandler movie. I don't know. Also, props to Stone Cold Steve Austin needs to do more movies. Anyways, someone who's not going to be unfortunately playing anymore this year is Aaron Rodgers. It was confirmed this morning that it was a torn Achilles, and it's really unfortunate. And again, you never root for injury, especially even someone who used to be a rival. And of course, we talk junk about Aaron Rodgers all the time, but obviously don't wish this upon anyone. But It feels like the national media jabroni haircuts are laying it on really thick right now. And Schefter tweeted this out, which is just ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers' torn Achilles might be the most devastating injury to a team and a fan base in NFL history. Really? All right. There has never been a player who received more offseason hype, who raised another team's expectations more, and who had his season and four plays in without ever completing a pass. I mean, who wrote this? I mean, who wrote this, man? It's like, I like Schefter, bro. He's just not that into you. Like, again, yeah, it sucks. Definitely sucks for Jets fans. And, you know, Rodgers did bring a ton of hype to New York. But, I mean, the most devastating injury to a team and fan base in NFL history. Like, Teddy nearly lost his leg. Like, if the Vikings training staff didn't act so quickly, Teddy literally could have lost his leg. Or what about Damar Hamlin? What about that? That literally happened less than a calendar year ago. But I digress. Again, the national media jabroni haircuts are out in full force with their hyperbole over Rodgers. But, you know. So, if you watch the channel for any amount of time, you know that Daddy occasionally likes putting down a jelly bean or two on the outcomes of games. Now, I had a good weekend, like full disclosure, but it could have been so much better. But I suffered two of the worst bad beats ever in my sports betting history. Like, it's almost as bad as that Northwestern Ohio State game from 5, 6, 7 years ago. But it was bad. And again, I had a really good weekend. It could have been stupendous. And it's like poker. No one likes hearing poker bad beat stories. No one likes hearing gambling bad beat stories, but you're going to anyway. But so I had Texas Tech +5. And they had the ball 37 seconds left. Oregon was up 31-30. But then the stupid Red Raiders quarterback threw a pick six. Like, how does that even happen? How does that even happen? And then Oregon wins by 8. It was bad. And then it was even worse, the Jets and the Bills game. So, I mean, Rodgers unfortunately pops his Achilles. But at halftime, the Bills are up 13-3. And you're thinking, okay, it's a wrap, right? But then Josh Allen decides to have 4 turnovers, and the Jets claw their way back in. They actually get ahead 16-13, and then the Bills tie it at the end of regulation. And here's the thing, too. So I had the Bills, who are 2-point favorites, as part of a teaser, right? So you're able to adjust the line. So I actually had the Bills +4. So it was fine for me as it headed into overtime, because as long as the Jets don't score a touchdown, Daddy wins the bet. And it was a multi-part bet, and it was going to make a good weekend that much better, right? But and also it actually worked out where the Bills had a 3-and-out, so they punted to the Jets. So like, okay, in this spot, if the Jets are able to get into field goal range, Salah would just kick it, and they won't bother with the touchdown. So again, I had the Bills +4, and again, a touchdown is the only way that I lose my bet. And that's exactly what happened. And what makes it even worse is our former Vikings legend Chaz Surratt, former third-round pick out of UNC, converted quarterback, just had an uncalled tripping penalty, which is very blatant, in springing the punt returner for the touchdown. So, woosah. Again, still very happy about what happened this weekend, but oh my God. Again, this is why, first off, no one should ever bet on sports. It's not for the faint of heart. Also, entertainment purposes only. Never bet more than you can afford, because could you imagine, like, if you actually had like significant money or like money that's earmarked for bills, like on the Bills, ironically, and then this ish happened or that ish happened? It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Speaking of the Bills in overtime. So, again, the Bills get propped up as like one of the top contending teams in the AFC. And, you know, Josh Allen gets promoted as one of the more elite quarterbacks in the game. But Josh Allen is averaging 2 turnovers a game over the last 2 seasons. And the Bills are now 0-5 in overtime games with him at quarterback, which is insane, because after that playoff game against the Chiefs, they literally changed the overtime rules. And this is how the Bills were paid. And also the Vikings. The Vikings handed the Bills one of those fat L's in overtime last year. It was good times. Good times, man. The opposite of good times. Well, good times for everyone else. Bad times for Wisconsin. So Barstool tweeted this out. Last night, a Wisconsin bar ran a promo that patrons drink for free if the Jets lose. And we talked about that a couple weeks ago. It's this bar in Milwaukee. And anytime the Jets are on and if they lose, you get your tab paid for, which is great. But after Rodgers got hurt, everyone, first off, Packers fans cheered, which is definitely out of pocket, but also something that you would expect from Packers fans. So there you go. Then everyone ran up their tab, and then, of course, the Jets walked off and won in overtime, which is hilarious. So everyone had to pay up their tab. But here's the thing, like, Miller High Lifes are like $1.75 a piece. So, like, how high was that tab really? I don't know, man. But also, the whole Chiron is great. Michael Stegman, hoping for free drinks. Also, this is probably the smartest man in Wisconsin. Like, this is their town surgeon, and also the president of their Mensa chapter. But yeah, the whole thing about it is just ridiculous. And yeah, with Rodgers, I don't believe in Zach Wilson. I mean, they should probably trade for Jameis or Teddy or Tannehill or Stafford or someone. And again, do not trade Kirko to the Jets unless they give up 2 first-round picks, which the Jets get their first-rounder back now since their draft pick was conditional for Rodgers playing 65% of the snaps. That ain't going to happen now. So, I mean, 2 firsts make it happen. Guess we'll see. But your thoughts are thoughts. That's it. Tuesday Vikings news dump. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.